Hey everybody, Matt Kluskowski here, and what I'd like to do this week is to give you a glimpse of one of the tutorials that I'll be showing at Photoshop World. So it's Friday right before Photoshop World, and I'm sitting here thinking about techniques to show and whatnot, and it kind of dawned on me, there's 3,000 people going to Photoshop World, but there's 65,000 NAP members out there, and so what about the other 62,000? Understandably, not everybody can make it, so what I wanted to do is just give you a little glimpse at one of the tutorials that I'll be showing over there, just so if you can't make it, you don't feel left out. You get to see some of the cool things that happen there. Alright, so what we're going to do this time is to create an action that gives you lots of different possibilities of what you can make this image look like. And I'm going to use black and white as an example, but you could do anything you wanted. And what you do in the end is you just run the action. I'm going to go ahead and do it, and I'll show you what we end up with, and then I'll show you how to create it. So I'm going to click play here, and Photoshop does lots of fun things. And if you look inside the layers palette, what do I got? I got a bunch of layers, black and white adjustment layer, the gradient map, the channel mixer method of a black and white. Here's the red channel, here is the green channel, and here's the blue channel. So to review what all of these adjustments did to your photos would take some time if you had to do this every single time and you wanted to see what the best black and white conversion was. However, if you can turn it into an action, you can make your life a lot easier. So that's what we're going to do here. I'll show you how to do just that. So let's create a brand new action here. I'll call it Matt's black and white. Incidentally, as you're watching this, even if you don't want to follow along but you still want the action, just wherever you watch this video, there will be a little download link on that web page, and you can download the action that I'm creating here. So you don't actually have to create it by yourself, but if you want to learn a little bit more about actions, it's worth checking out. Incidentally, also, I'm going to cancel this because what I want to do is revert here, or just delete all these other layers, because at this point I don't want them. Okay, we want to start with just one layer, the background layer. Now let's create our action. Call it Matt's black and white review, and I'll hit record. First thing I'm going to do is duplicate this background layer. So I'll press Command J on the Mac, Control J on the PC. Then let's do our first black and white adjustment. I'm going to use the black and white adjustment layer. And I do this, and I'll tell you why in a second. I'm going to go to the adjustment layer icon, click on black and white, and I'm just going to leave it at the defaults and click OK. Alright, and what I do next is I've got one layer here. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and click on the layer that's right below it, and then press Command G on the Mac, Control G on the PC. That's G for group. Alright, so both of these layers are selected, and I group them together. Double click on the group name and rename it to black and white adjustment layer. Okay? Take a look at our actions palette. All these steps are now being recorded. So what I really just did here is I created myself a nice little group with the photo and the black and white adjustment layer inside of it. So when I play this again and I run this on another photo, I can always open it up, double click the adjustment layer, and I can change things. I'm not forced with one adjustment that maybe worked well for one photo but doesn't work well for another one. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide this, click on the background layer, and start this whole process over again. Duplicate the layer. Let's do a different adjustment layer this time. Let's do the channel mixer method. So I'll add a channel mixer adjustment layer, click on monochrome. Again, I won't change any of the settings because even though they look good on this photo, who knows what they'll look like on the other one. So that's where you can come in and tweak the action later on. But then we'll click OK. Hold down the Shift key to select both layers, and Command G, Control G on the PC to group them together. Finally double click, and I'll call this channel mixer adjustment layer. Cool. Repeat the process once again. Hide, click on the background layer, duplicate the layer, and let's go for one more adjustment here. I will use gradient map, and I'm just going to leave the default settings alone. However, if you wanted to, you could double click on your gradient inside of here, and you could edit that gradient, and you could basically tweak the way this black and white looks. But I'm just going to click OK. Again, Shift click, Command G to group them together, double click, and we'll call this gradient map adjustment layer. Now, let's take this a step further, because that's pretty easy to just do these adjustment layers. So I'm going to hide that. But let's take it a step further and do some things that would take even more time. So I'm going to click on my background layer. I'm going to go over to my channels palette. I'm going to click on the red channel. And let's go to select all. Take a look at the keyboard shortcut there, Command A, because I'm going to use that shortcut next time. So select all, and then edit, copy. Again, look at the shortcut. That's the universal shortcut for copy, Command C, Control C on the PC. So we copy, click on our RGB composite, go back to the layers menu, create a new layer, and then paste it. And then rename that layer to red channel. Let's hide it and do the same thing. Click on our background layer so we can see the color image. Go to the channels palette, click on the green, select all, copy, go back to our composite, back over to layers, create a new layer, paste, and then again rename this green channel. And then one more. I promise, let's just do the blue channel. So let's hide this, click the background layer, go to the channels palette, click on blue, select all, copy. Doesn't look so good. It doesn't look so good for this image, but you never know. Blue might look good on another photo, and that's why we do this. So we select all, copy, go back to our composite, just click on RGB, go to layers, create a brand new layer, paste it in, rename the layer to blue channel, click OK, and hide it. And that's all there is to it. Yeah, I know I say that's all there is to it, and there's like 35 steps here. But at this point, you can click stop to stop recording, or if you have other favorite black and white conversion techniques, then go ahead and add them to this action right here, and then you can preview those as well. So we'll hit the stop button here, and then don't forget we've got all these layers that we added inside our layers palette. So I will click on one, shift click on another one, and then just delete them. So we'll start from scratch here. Now let's play this action. Go up to the action name, that's black and white, whatever I called it. We'll click on that action, click on the play button, and Photoshop does all that work for you. Everything that we just did, Photoshop went through and did it all by itself. And now you can just go through here and preview one. And when you find one that kind of looks like a little bit closer to what you like we say we like Channel Mixer, then I can open up that group, double click on the Channel Mixer icon here, and then I can tweak it even more. All right, so let's bring out those reds a little bit, even some of the greens. Notice that the gas tank or the gas pump here was red, so as I adjust this red slider, that I can really get some fine-tuned control over it here. And then probably don't have a whole lot of blue inside this one. And now we can click OK, and we get to see what it looks like. But better yet, we can see what the gradient map conversion does for us. We can see what the red channel does for us without going over into the channels palette. And that's the whole point of this, is to save time. So it helps you make the decision fairly quickly about which black and white adjustment you really want to apply to your photos. Well, that's it, folks. Don't forget that you can download this action on the webpage that you're watching this video from. And I hope you enjoyed, and I will be talking to you again here on the Net Member website very soon. One more thing, though, and before I go, and I forgot to do this, is so you'll download that action from the website. Just put it onto your desktop, go to your Actions palette here, and click on that little pop-out menu, and just go down to Load Actions if you want to load that action. If it's on your desktop, you'll see the little ATN file here. Just click on Load, and it'll put that action into your Actions palette for you. So just wanted to make sure I mentioned that before leaving here.